Welcome, everyone, to Rutgers at the Voice of College Football. I'm here with my fantastic co-host, Gabriel Pickup, and we've got a great show here for you tonight. First, we're going to talk about transfer portal updates. Then we're going to do our yearly wrap-up by looking at past takes that Gabe and I had during and before the season and see how they panned out this year. And then we're going to end the show by talking about the state of Rutgers football. So if you like the show, hit that like and subscribe button. As always, we welcome your comments and your calls. So, Gabe, you got any more pick updates for us regarding the transfer portal?
Yeah, I got several. Do you want the good news or the bad news first?
I've always been someone who sees the world with the glass half empty. So how about the bad news first?
Oh, man. All right. Well, over this past week, we've lost a few guys. And, I'm sure you at home watching, you could have predicted that that's what the bad news would be when it comes to the portal. So Temple has actually gained 4 Rutgers players from the past year or the year prior. And that goes John Stone, offensive lineman, Sam Brown, the not 1, 2, 3, or 4, but the 5th, Johnny Shepard, who was at Washington State last year, but he was Rutgers' backup quarterback the year prior to Athan during his first year, and Zach Omland, who is also a second-string offensive lineman for Rutgers. And I came to think about it, and Temple also acquired quarterback Evan Simon last year and turned him into a stud. So this kind of poses a new problem to me in that, when you think of New Jersey, Pennsylvania products or people going to school in one of those 2 states, you think if we're going to lose them locally, it would be to Penn State. Well, if you're not necessarily a 5-star prospect, we may lose some depth pieces to Temple for a starting opportunity. And they're definitely a school on the rise. I think they went 2-11 in 2024. And then last year they went 6-6.
So my first question is, why are Rutgers players going to Temple? Seems like a demotion.
Well, easier conference play. I believe they're in the AAC, correct? And like I said, a starting opportunity. They're going to get to show that they can play. They're going to have some tape. I mean, Evan Simon went from a guy who wasn't playable at Rutgers to now all of a sudden having one of the most efficient college football quarterback seasons. And I believe he finished with 22 touchdowns or something and 1 interception all year. And now he's an NFL prospect. So these guys are going there because they're not getting reps here. And ultimately, it might not seem like a loss, but if you look at this past year with a bunch of offensive linemen going down, losing CJ Campbell in week 1, this matters. It matters because you're bound to have to play backup players. And, with all these guys leaving after 1 year, except for Sam Brown, of course, he's been here a few years. It serves as a real issue.
Yeah, it certainly does. And what we've seen in the recent week with all the top Division I teams, I mean, the transfer portal is chaotic. Now, the people that we've lost from Rutgers to Temple and to other places, does it suggest to you that you have players that just want to play and are not happy that they didn't get any time this year, or that Rutgers is not doing well at developing its players? Because if Evan Simon did as well as you say, then why wasn't Rutgers developing him? Is that a concern?
It's in the back of your head for sure. It's never 100% because of one reason, unless that reason is money. But I think we have Temple beat with money so far. So to me, I think the issue is still clearly the fact that there is an opportunity to play at Temple. But sure, it's going to be in the back of your head. And, like players like Evan Simon, I believe he was actually our 3rd string quarterback when he was here. And right. He was the quarterback who was probably the least likely to look like a starting quarterback out of the 3. It just all of a sudden he goes to a school like Temple, and Temple's not known for being the most functional school, but recently they've been developing a lot better than they usually do. And so it poses a real threat.
Yeah, that's a good point. So we also at this time want to add our fantastic co-host Donovan Gibbs, who actually plays Division I football for Long Island University. Donovan, thanks for joining us. Always great to have you here and have your great insights. We're talking about the transfer portal Gabe was just talking about some of the players, Rutgers, who have gone to Temple. We were
Yeah.
talking about, does that signal to you that they're just unhappy that they're not getting playing time, or more of a developmental issue? And that's where we're at right now. But Gabe, I think since we started out with the glass half empty, let's start out.
Let's give Donovan a chance to answer that question. You just gave him a find out next time on Dragon Ball Z ask question. Let's give him a chance.
I was trying not to ambush him. If you want to jump into the fire, Donovan, go right ahead.
So the question is there a problem with the development, or is it just lack of playing time when it comes to players transferring?
Yeah, because I'm going to tell it like it is. You're playing at Rutgers. You're at a school that's a top 50 academic school, a school that participates in the Big Ten, and you're demoting yourself to Temple. And I'm wondering why that is. And is it because Rutgers?
If it is that, then I would say it's playing time. It is most of the time. It typically is playing time when you see players that are at a Big Ten school that go down to a smaller school, whether it's Group of 5 or FCS, just trying to be able to get on the field. Because a lot of players are interested in just possibly just staying at Rutgers and just saying that they're wanting to be a part of the active roster at Rutgers and they want to be part of that developmental process. Other players, they just want to get on the field. No matter where it is, what it is.
You're saying instead of it do not matter, it matters.
Yeah, I would say it definitely matters, because at the end of the day, these players have their own brand and they want to be able to make the same type of money as everybody else. And that's why the portal, especially just how prophesizable it is right now, I know we can't even take it outside of Rutgers. I just saw that Ty Simpson's getting offered $6 million by Alabama to come back the year. A lot of these players want to be able to make that money, and the only way you can get to talking dollars with a lot of schools is getting on the field and having tape. So like seeing a player from Rutgers go to Temple, or the DB from Rutgers going to UConn just today, is primarily just because they see themselves being able to play at this level or playing at this school and be able to get on the field and get tape.
Yeah, I think he was right. I mean, I don't think the money's longer at Temple. I think it's probably a little longer here at Rutgers. But I guess they're being more of a high roller, taking a chance on themselves and really grabbing the wheel, huh?
Wait a second.
Shout out Lil Uzi.
So whatever happened, whatever happened to, I may not start this year, I may not even start next year, but I'm going to stick it out and persevere and overcome adversity and compete so that I will earn playing time, rather than simply jumping ship and going to a smaller school. What's with these kids? They think they have a brand. They don't have a brand, and their parents aren't teaching them any values if they're jumping ship like this. It's ridiculous.
With Sam Brown, he wasn't starting next year. He knows that. He probably wasn't being RB2 next year. He's been here for 3 or 4 years now. He's coming off of a pretty bad knee injury. And so with him, it's totally justifiable. But you have to think about the linemen, John Stone and Zach Omland. I do agree with you that I think their better career move would have been to stay.
Yeah, I mean, I
when it comes to linemen,
I mean, by staying and competing, you're also developing a lot of intangible skills. You're competing at a higher level. You are learning to deal with adversity. You're not just jumping ship the second things go wrong. I mean, what are these guys going to do in the real world after football? When they get a bad review by their employer, they're going to jump ship, And I blame the parents too, because these kids are thinking always in terms of money and immediate gratification. And I'm serious when I say it's going to affect them in life, and it's also affecting the culture of college football. I mean, am I wrong?
Well, with money, I think you're wrong in this instance. I don't think that Temple is paying them more. If at all. I think that they're just getting better playing time there. I mean, maybe I'm wrong about the money. I don't know the specifics. It's just that Temple has always been known, and I know this because I have lots of friends that go to Temple. Temple has been known to underinvest in its athletic programs, and that includes football, which they used to be really freaking good at, and then they kind of stunk for a while, and now they're sort of middle of the pack after an overperforming year. So you look at Temple, you see a club or a university that's kind of on an upward trajectory. And, sort of how we launched our NIL this year, and we're supposedly on an upward trajectory. Also, William Tate, president of Rutgers University, made a not so subtle jab that we're not done spending, which is great to hear. But you look at Temple, and I mean, when you look at the two places head to head, sure, it's easier competition, but that also means better statistics and more likely to start. So I think that the appeal is in the depth chart rather than the money.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's 100% the depth chart, especially when it comes to going to Temple or like for my example, the DB going to UConn.
Yeah,
It's you want to get on the field and you want to make money. And Adam, yeah, you have a point in regards to just has the money aspect starting to alter college football. I would say the money has been altering college football since the invention of college football, or at least during the reign of the SEC. And that's why a lot of the players, especially coming out of high school, were choosing these schools to sit for periods and periods of time, knowing that they're getting paid regardless. And now a lot of the players are just want to get that money and get to that bag, and because they see it as an opportunity to not only better their life but better their families' lives. And just because of that, that's why you see a lot of players in the portal as it is right now.
And the name that we were all forgetting is Renick Dorillas, who played for Rutgers, I believe, the past 2 years. Didn't start, I believe.
Yeah, Renick Dorillas, he's a freshman. He was a freshman.
Oh, so last year, okay. Yeah, and
so he didn't play.
Yeah, Shiano's not playing.
I'm gonna tell you something. You know what I miss? I miss the 1980s. I miss the 1990s even. Not the music, but I miss the fact that players.
Hey, the 90s music was good, man.
Well, we could talk about that in another episode, but
big fan of 90s music.
I miss players who, were amateurs who had loyalty to their school. I miss players who, if you were, starting defensive tackle for the Fighting Irish, you were loyal to Notre Dame. I miss that kind of aspect of college football, and I miss the values that I think sticking with a program and overcoming adversity promoted. But I also think that there are examples of that today. Ty Simpson, for example, offered $6.5 million allegedly by Miami. But you know what they said? They said Ty Simpson turned it down because he wanted to be known as someone who played at Alabama and only Alabama.
That to me shows
that's college football.
He's even more loyal than players that didn't really have that choice. You could say the same about KJ Duff.
I'm looking at the same reports that are saying Alabama offered him money as well. So it's just why you leave when you're getting the same amount at your own home. That's why I can see that for that reason.
I don't think Alabama offered him that amount, and I think any amount Alabama offered would have been trumped by a Miami. But maybe, maybe you're right. Yeah, I absolutely.
Yeah, he was offered $6.5 million to stay, and the offers reported were Miami, Tennessee, Ole Miss. I'm really expecting Alabama to match up the same offer because they're not going to let Tyson go.
They've since Saban started. I mean, they've always been at the top of financial investment into their football program, even before NIL.
Yeah, well, no one's saying that Ty doesn't deserve to be paid, but I think that there's an element to his decision where he wants to be known as somebody who, played for the Crimson Tide and nobody else. Unlike some of these other players who hop around more than you play. You'd think they were playing hot potato with all the schools they go to, and you know what? I think that has made college football less attractive because when I look at an Alabama or I look at a Texas or Ohio State, all I'm seeing is transplanted people. I'm seeing transfers. I'm not seeing a team where people stuck it out, where people are loyal to the team. And I guess I miss it. Maybe I'm nostalgic, but I think it was better for the players, too, in developing their life skills rather than what we have now, which is the wild, wild west and instant gratification.
Well, I think that it's a little lame that you need to have a special report for guys staying. And that's no shade to KJ Duff because I thought that the way he announced him staying was fantastic in a crowd of people cheering him on. I mean, that was heroic. But I think the fact that it even needs to happen is sort of feels like it's not what it used to be. I agree with that. But I have one more sort of negative report because, losing guys.
Negative today, really.
I know. I wonder who started me off negative, Mr.
That would be me, unfortunately. So I take the blame.
All right. Well, it's not necessarily negative for him, but it could be depending on how we view it, I guess. But Daryl Jabome, linebacker, got, I believe, 100 tackles. He has declared for the NFL draft, and he's had good numbers individually, but his draft stock has plummeted drastically. And I hope that he does get a chance in the NFL, but I do wish him luck with that. And that's not shade. I just genuinely think that he should have come back for another year. But I wonder what you guys think.
Where was he projected going into the season, if you know, when it comes to like his draft stock?
I'll pull that up. I had it a few weeks ago.
Because for Jabom, he had a decent season. He led Rutgers in tackles this year, and that's going to be.
So I have it right now. His coming into the year, he was 279, which means probable undrafted, but could have gotten in the second round. And right now he's 350.
Oh.
I was just going to say that his decision should probably be based on what his draft grade is. If his draft grade is UDFA,
it is.
And I think one of the reasons it might be that way is I think he struggles at coverage. That's, I think, is one of the drawbacks. But certainly, if he stayed another year at Rutgers, it's not going to really hurt his draft stock. So I'm wondering what the reasoning is behind that decision.
I mean, I think it's because he got the invitation to the Hula Bowl, and
he might have had a poor Hula Bowl.
I mean, he had 71 tackles last year, 105 the year prior. So he actually, for having an increased role with Motoré transferring over to Miami, he actually performed a little worse. He did have 2 fumble recoveries last year compared to none the year prior. Same amount of forced fumbles, a sack and a half less. But his tackle numbers and the fact that there were so many holes in the defense, it just didn't seem like he should have declared.
I think Jason O has just solved the question for us.
Well, he's a junior, isn't he?
According to Jason O, that is not correct. That he's out of eligibility and would have had to petition with the courts for an extra year of eligibility, and he had no interest in pursuing.
Oh no, that's my apologies. He is a senior. I think who was it? The place that I go to for the Rutgers depth chart. Let me see real quick. I believe they had Jabom as Our Lads. I believe they had him as a junior. Yeah, Jabom had OurLads.com has him as a junior. So that's where I was looking at.
They might have to just update that, but for Jabom, it potentially is because he had a poor Hula Bowl. I was one of the few people on this podcast that was trying to watch it, and I couldn't because CBS didn't air it. So LCBS in the chat.
For real.
But outside of that, he most likely had a poor Hula Bowl, and that's why they dropped him. Because as I said on last week's stream, it's more than just them playing a scrimmage game. They're also doing drills. They're also watching them how they interact with coaches. They're talking to potential scouts as well. And he might have just had a poor day in one of those aspects. I'm guessing he might have did great during the actual game, but during the drills and be able to watch him one-on-one, and whether it's 7-on-7 slot coverage or potentially one-on-one against linebacker versus running back, trying to make him one miss, he might have had a poor day in those drill aspects, and that's potentially why his stock went low. But outside of that, if he was going to leave and potentially go to the Hula Bowl and had a good outlook on the day, his stock most likely would have went higher.
I don't know about you guys. I can't find the stats from the Hula Bowl at all. Can you?
I know Cam Miller got a pick 6 in it, so shout out to Cam Miller.
I would like to know how Ethan did.
Ethan, I believe, got invited to the American Bowl, just like DT. I had them both going to the Hula Bowl. I think they both are going to the American Bowl.
That's the one I'm going to try to find.
And by the way, I saw Ethan's been super locked into the John Gruden quarterback camp too.
Because that's the way in.
He was the only one that was actively taking notes out of all the quarterbacks.
Yeah, well, let me tell you this. You can take the Hula Bowl, you can take the American Bowl, you can take the Toilet Bowl and shove it. They should have gone to the Birmingham Bowl. That's where they should have gone.
Oh, crap.
And played Georgia Southern and allowed some of the players that are coming back next year to get experience and ended the season on a win.
They have a whole season to get experience. I think that was never going to be. We were never playing in that.
John Gruden was at the Hula Bowl.
No, I think John Gruden was in Hawaii vacationing, and it just happened. The Hula Bowl happened to happen. But
I'm watching him getting a Gatorade shower after he led his team to a 38-21 victory.
Who was the other? Was he the coach for?
Yeah, he was the coach for Team Ka.
Who was the other coach? Do you know?
I'm still looking at it. I'm just happy that they actually released video from the.
There was just no coverage on
it because I haven't seen anything. When I think of the Hula Bowl, I think of that movie Honeymoon in Vegas. It's a great movie from the 90s. But I mean, look, I think, again, when it comes down to all this news, I wish the best to those who are transferring. But at the end of the day, what my focus is on is how good is Rutgers football going to be next year. We're going to get to that. But, Gabe, since we started the show on such negativity, there must be the glass half full part of this.
Yes, we do have some glass half full news. I wrote down Ethan accepting the American Bowl, joining DT Sheffield in it, and we talked about that briefly. But now we can get to the acquisitions. So first off, Citadel defensive back Bradley Jones accepted a deal to join Rutgers University. So he is going to be pairing up with what's his name again from last show? Starts with a Z, I believe.
Did you say from the Citadel?
Yeah.
The Citadel, a military school where they run the option on offense, often confusing superior competition. They were tied 10-10 in 2018 against Alabama at the half because they confused them with the, option attack, which harkens back to the early 80s. But so is this a good acquisition?
I'm a huge. You're thinking of Zamir Dawood?
Yes, Zamir Dawood. Yep.
There's gonna be a good pairing.
I think so too.
I like Bradley Jones. I watched a lot of his tape. He's going to be the kind of guy that's going to offset Zamir because Bradley's more of a zone guy, Citadel over a lot of zone, and Zamir is going to be that man-to-man guy. So it's going to be kind of interesting on how Rutgers is going to be able to use both of them next season because I can see both of them playing.
And I'm excited because any new players on the defense are sure to make an immediate impact. And I can see him being a DB2 or DB3, depending on who else we get, how they view him versus, Kaj Sanders is at safety. So it's an exciting move. I'm excited for Bradley Jones to join Rutgers.
Plus, I'm not gonna lie, Rutgers got a speedster. He's fast. He has a 10.3 100-meter dash, which is fast. If you don't know anything about track, that is fast. So they have a potential guy that can play DB, a potential returner as well. He returned a kickoff, a missed kick all the way to the house last year against Sanford as well, 59 yards. So they have something here in Bradley Jones, and I'm excited to see how that's going to convert to Big Ten play.
Yeah, and next up, another guy that actually, Donovan, you have played against, and we can talk about him now. Eastern Michigan offensive lineman Everett Small joins the program, and he doesn't necessarily have eye-popping PFF grades. Chiano must have seen something in him. So, what do you guys think?
Do you want to go out? Because I have a list.
I think it's, and I want to be respectful to the player. I think it's an ineffective acquisition. I do not think it will add significant value. We are playing in the Big Ten. We're playing USC, Indiana, Ohio State.
Well, he's not going to play next year, probably.
Next year. I mean, and I don't think that this is an acquisition that is going to add tremendous value. I could be wrong, and out of all respect to that player, I'm not trying to be, degrade or demean him. But Donovan, do you disagree with me?
I disagree with you on some aspects. I can see him bringing value because at the end of the day, he can play all 5 positions on the offensive line. He started off the year as a center. When we played him at Eastern Michigan, in Ypsilanti, he was starting center of that game, and then after that game, I think he played left tackle for the rest of the year, primarily because Eastern Michigan was hurt a lot on the offensive line this year. So he was playing around at a lot of different positions, and that's something that you can bring to Big Ten or this Power Four and be able to be effective because he can go in for whenever any offensive lineman goes down. We saw it throughout just last season. We had a lot of injuries on the offensive line. Needham was out for a game or out during certain situations of the season. We had to bring in backup tackles like Mashoud. We had to, or Giwa. When it comes to the right guard or the left
John
guard along
Stone,
the
he was
line.
out after the first week too. I believe John Stone was projected to be the second stringer, but then he won the starting job over Needham last minute, and then he got hurt, and then Needham had to step back in.
Well,
So that's where Small's going to most likely play a huge advantage for Rutgers on the offensive line. He provides depth to where once he's able to understand the playbook, he can play whatever position where a starter might be out. He's a very good plug-in guy.
Okay.
So I have a question for Donovan. So Donovan, you obviously know much more about this than I do. Now, you started the season at LIU. You guys went to play the Gators, in Gainesville, and then it wasn't too many games later that you played Eastern Michigan. So
We played them the next week.
next
Yeah, we
week.
played them week 2.
So you've seen him actually in person. What's your assessment when you think about his talent level and if he can be a valuable addition?
I can see him being a valuable addition at guard more than he is going to be at center. The only the positive for him being at center is just his size being 6'4", 310, and that he's good at snapping the ball. A lot of his snaps are always on the money, and if you're going to play center, that's a requirement. Then it is a positive. So that's where I can see him being at center. But he's most likely going to play guard. He has good feet. He's very agile, and we saw that a lot when we played him at Eastern Michigan when it comes to stretch runs or any sort of rollout type of situation for the quarterback where the linemen are going to have to go in the opposite direction. He's good in that 3 to 5 step range. He has long arms, so that's why he's more of a guy that it's better as like a post player than as a trail player, because as a post player, you're able to set up the defensive lineman to get hit. When we seen him as a trail player throughout, not only during that game at LIU, but for the rest of the season when he was playing at left tackle, he's really high on his blocks. He's high. That's why he's not really able to really be a good trail player, because he's not able to get low enough to displace a defensive end or a defensive tackle, a 3-tech, or to displace a 3-tech or a 5-tech with a tight end the right way. He's not really good with the technique of being able to attack the hip, primarily because he just plays high. But playing high does play to his advantage sometimes. He's able to withstand a bull rush, but there was instances where he gets knocked over during the game against LIU at center. He was getting knocked over by a lot of my defensive linemen. To add him to his, just to not make it sound really bad, that is an FCS guy. That guy now, he plays at Western Michigan. He transferred, so he got knocked over by a guy in his range, a D1 FBS MAC player. But the thing is, at that time, that player was around 265 pounds. So there is some development strength wise that I can see him going and being able to achieve, because at the end of the day, Rutgers has a good strength program. We've seen it. I've seen Giwa when he's come back during the bye week. I've seen him get stronger. So if he can get bigger, I can see Ever Small being able to get bigger and withstand a lot of the bull rush. But the reason why I see him playing guard primarily is because at center he had poor eyes. And poor eyes at center, he doesn't really react well to twist games, and you can see it on a lot of the time in his tape or during the games where if a 1-tech or a 0 just moves out of his gap, they're on a pass pro, even if he's sliding that way, he just starts looking back and just trying to just figure out what's going on instead of trying to follow his eyes on that defender. But bad to some more positives is that when it comes to the physical aspect, it's a good match for Shiano and what Shiano wants. He wants a mauler, someone that can, once he gets his hands on you, he's able to finish you. He's able to finish his blocks very well, and once he gets on you, he's able to keep moving, and that's going to be something that Shiano looks at comes to spring and tries to flourish more, being able to have him keep his feet more active. And once he's able to do that, he has a good motor. At the end of the day, he's the same player at snap 1 as he has at potentially snap 80 of a game. So that's a good thing. And that's something that Shiano likes. He likes high motor offensive linemen, and with mixing that versatility, as long as his physical traits of having a really good wingspan, he, for most of those games that I mentioned, and especially at LIU, he was the first punch most of the time. And as an offensive lineman, especially as a center, only having one hand, being able to be the first touch when it comes to playing up against a guy that's a nose or shaded on you is always a positive.
So now, do you guys see the difference between how we can commentate on offensive linemen and how Donovan can? Because that is unreal.
That is what you call a professional analysis by a Division I college football player, and that's why Donovan is so valued on this show. And so from someone who has not played football, it sounds like what you're saying is he would be a pretty good pass blocker, but not a good run blocker.
Yeah, that's why he's more of a run blocker. That's why his run grade was higher than his pass grade this year. And I said it for that reason. He's able to get hands on you, and he likes to keep his feet moving. Once he's in a situation where he has to kick step and start having to deal with the contact instead of dishing out the contact, you kind of see a different player. And that's why I'm saying for Shiano, I see why he picked him up, because he has the potential to be a good run blocker in the Big Ten, and we see Rutgers for the next potential 2-3 years. This is a really running strong team that's going to try to live in that play action world. And Eastern Michigan runs a lot of play action, so he's coming into a system that he's accustomed to. And he's just gonna have to work a little bit harder on just the developmental aspects, which I believe he can.
Yeah. Well, look, the only concern I have, and I'll be blunt about it, I wish this gentleman the best, and I hope he's very successful at Rutgers. But if you're struggling at Eastern Michigan, I'm not sure how you're going to do against Indiana's defensive line, Penn State's defensive line, Michigan's defensive line. Need I say more? I mean, I tell it like it is. I'm just saying. I mean, come on.
I mean, you can make that concern for any of our offensive linemen, though. Even Asamoah will let some guys go by here and there if it's against the Indianas of the world, the Penn States, the Michigans. So I don't think that him coming in from Eastern Michigan and struggling is going to necessarily be a hindrance. I honestly think that as long as he doesn't start, he'll be okay.
He's getting knocked on his ass.
He's going to be a depth guy. He's going to be a depth guy next year. But Isaiah Cook out of Delaware State, I like that.
That's a good one.
I like that move.
The next acquisition I dove right into.
He was one of the best. He was one of the better interior offensive linemen in the MEAC, and that says a lot.
Against Norfolk State, do you know?
Oh, they demolished Norfolk State. Norfolk State.
Okay, word, because so did we. So I just wanted to see how they compared against Norfolk State versus how we played against them.
In Deshaun Jackson's system, as a first-year head coach, Deshaun Jackson loved him. So I am high on Isaiah Cook, and I'm excited to see how well he's going to do it in Piscataway. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I'm excited too, and I do think can start next year.
Delaware State.
Mm-hmm.
Where is Delaware State?
In the state of Delaware.
I think it's Wilmington, Delaware.
I know it's in the state of Delaware. Oh, the corporate capital of the world. Yes. So Delaware State plays who?
Norfolk State.
Oh.
They play a lot of HBCU, Division I HBCU, but they do play other
players in games against Indiana, USC, Michigan, Penn State, and Ohio State, and Nebraska. Okay.
Well,
look, we're going to bear bad news, but I hate to be the bearer of bad news.
I mean, listen, I understand that.
Adam, to keep it just 50-50 here, a lot of the guys at Indiana, they also started at JMU at the time, which is a FBS Group of 5 school, and we're seeing Rutgers get guys from that Group of 5 FCS level, and it's not really about what conference you play in; it's just how good you are as a player. So
Yeah.
I'm
Even
you gotta give it,
Signetti,
gotta give it some
even
grace.
Signetti never coached a Power 4 school, and now look
Guys,
at it.
JMU is an elite team. I mean, come on, look at what they did with
They're
Oregon.
great, but they also play weak competition.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
they at least they played Louisville this year. They played Oregon in the playoff, and they had players on the team that were dynamite players. I mean, their running back was as good as.
But I mean, it's the same. If you're a G5 school, you're naturally gonna get players that when they transfer, people look at them funny if they join a Power 4 school. That's
Maybe I'm just way off here, guys. Maybe I'm way off, but I think of the competition, the Big Ten, and I am making assumptions, yes, based on some of the schools we're coming from. But
if you want a culture shifter, you look at Isaiah Cook, because Delaware State was one of the worst schools in the MEAC last year. They only won one. I think they only won 2 games last year. This current season in 2025, they ended up finishing off the year 8-4, and he was the primary reason because of that. So it's really just about the players than it is just what conference.
And also offensive linemen aren't throwing the ball, they're not running the ball, they're not returning the ball, they're not intercepting it. Their job is just to protect the quarterback and let him and the running back and let them make the plays. So he can't be responsible for the team record. It's really for offensive linemen, you really grade them individually.
I know that you grade them individually, but when you're evaluating a player, you necessarily have to evaluate who they've competed against to assess the quality of that player. I mean, it is relative. So maybe I'm wrong, guys. Maybe I'm wrong. And I
don't think your worries are wrong, but I think you concluding from your worries is wrong.
Well, look, I'm not concluding that they will not add value. I am saying that I have some skepticism.
And that's fair. I have skepticism
too. That's fair. Yeah. I completely understand the skepticism, but
I think a lot of
it's more of just you're having skepticism on who they played than who the player is.
Yes, because I think who the player is depends in part upon how successful they've been against the quality of competition. But Donovan, you know more than I do, so I think your view on it is certainly valid. I mean, more, so
Isaiah Cook.
I hope that's.
Isaiah Cook,
Villanova is the one that I want. That's who I'm excited about.
Zamir Jawood. He's going to be really good.
Villanova is legit.
He could be CB1 next year. It's still TBD. And next guy, we're actually going to stay on the offense, and then I have 2 players from defense that are reported to come. So this one I'm really excited about. Very good replacement for CJ Campbell, who entered the portal. And that is Louisiana Tech running back Clay Thevenin, I believe you pronounce his name. 131 carries, 634 yards, 4.8 per carry, 8 touchdowns, and receiving 33 receptions, 269 yards. I'm ecstatic that because I honestly didn't think we were going to get another running back in the portal. I thought we were going to relax and have Mike Dukes be RB2 and let Antoine Raymond be.
That means we found the third down back. And he's going to play a really good role because, as we see now,
we didn't have that last year.
Yeah, when it comes to college football, you need to have a good 1-2 punch, and we see it right now with Indy. If you look at the national championship, Indiana has Kalen Black and Hemby, as well as Miami having Mark Fletcher, and as well as they have another running back. I think his last name is Brown as well. So. You need to have a 1-2 punch, and Rutgers being able to get one and a guy like Thevenin is very, very good.
And by the way, this is the guy who CFB Talk Daily tweeted, nice replacement for CJ Campbell. Don't overpay for players you can replace when your program's strapped for NIL cash. And then William Tate responded, strapped for cash with a question mark. I mean, that's a pretty good sign that we didn't just get Mr. Thevenin because he's a cheap addition. We got him because he's a damn good running back, and we still have money. We're not done yet. I fully believe that. So I'm very excited for him. He's going to be the running back too. And third down running back, which we didn't have most of last season after CJ Campbell got hurt. It was really Jashawn Benjamin and Samuel Brown getting 3 or 4 carries a game, if that. And it was Raymond getting 20, 30, 34 carries a game.
that's not only going to help out the offense, it's going to help out with extending the season for Antoine Raymond. It takes a lot of hits off of his body, and that's what's going to make a difference in a game in week 12 compared to a game in week 4.
I mean, we need these guys healthy.
Well, you need them healthy. Well, part of the problem, I think, why there's so many injuries is, the players are worked incredibly hard during camp. And I wonder if there's ever going to be some philosophical change in that regard. But I think, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, I mean, we've had so many injuries in the last couple of years that, and some of it I think is attributable to, now I think Coach Shiano would say, you don't know what you're talking about. We need to work that hard because we need to be competitive in the Big Ten.
Defensively, we needed to work harder.
But is there something to the argument that the players are getting worked excessively and that's leading to more vulnerability to injuries?
When it comes to camp, I can say just because just experiencing fall camp as a Division I athlete, and regardless of what position you play or what sport you play on this level, FCS or FBS, is a grueling 2 months. It's a grueling month and a half, at least for football. It's a grueling month and a half, and everybody goes through it. So it's just really just how well you prepare your body for camp. And that's why when it comes to strength and conditioning coaches, is they typically give you a workout planner over the summer during those summer workout sessions to just prepare your body. So you're not going into this at not a good shape going into the season. So it's not really it's not a Shiano thing. It's genuinely just all aspects of college football that everybody deals with injuries during camp. Even in the NFL, people deal with injuries during camp. It happens. It comes with the game.
Yeah, and I agree, Jason. We need running backs being used in the passing game. We saw Antoine Raymond take off against Penn State when he was utilized in the passing game, and it's something that we missed all year. If there was one glaring weakness, it was that our game was a little bit one-dimensional on offense. Players who were brought in to do a certain thing did what they were supposed to do, but couldn't really expand. We saw that with Ethan being immobile despite having the arm of a legend. By the way, shout out Ethan Kaliak-Manis for the follow back on the Graham Game Recognized Game. And we saw that with Raymond not really being used in the passing game. But once he was used, and tight ends being run blockers, but again, tight ends weren't really used. So I think that these players should be utilized in more than one aspect. And with CJ Campbell, that was going to be the plan, was that he would be a good check down guy too before he got hurt. And we didn't really have a replacement for that. So I agree. And I hope that Thevenin is used as a third down running back, but also a third down receiver.
You are 100% right. And I think one thing we really need, we need a really good tight end. We need to have a tight end who can, catch the ball on third downs, kind of like Charlie Becker from Nashville, from Indiana. If we could get a good tight end and a running back who can, catch passes, that's going to help our offense. But I think when as far as Ethan goes, I mean, everybody's rooting for you, Ethan. I mean, you did a wonderful job for Rutgers this year and really elevated that offense almost single-handedly. So, we hope you go to the NFL. I saw you in person against Penn State, and you were legit. So best of luck to him. But that brings up, of course, the story that nobody in the media is talking about that I keep mentioning and nobody seems to care, is that we have the transfer of all transfers next year in the name of Dylan Lonergan, former four-star Alabama recruit. I mean, I think that changes the game for Rutgers next year and causes us to be positive about the upcoming season.
Yeah, and now you're going to be able to add more weapons to the running game and the passing game and protection for longer. And so you can easily see a player of like Clay Thevenin's stature being able to not only influence the offense more, because at the end of the day, last season he had nearly 1,000 yards all purpose, and being able to be that run and pass option for Longren, it is going to not only help out Thevenin, it's going to help out Longren, and definitely going to give Thevenin a lot more touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm excited for what he can bring to the table. And
let's not write off AJ Surace. AJ Surace is still in the competition.
I mean, yes, definitely. But if God forbid Raymond were to get hurt, we know that we have another good running back too. That's the other positive about bringing him in.
You don't see them splitting the carries like at the end of the year. You don't see them having the same around the similar amount of carries, or do you? How many more carries do you see Raymond having than Devin?
I think it would be probably like 80-20 for Raymond. I don't think it would be like. I don't think that he would like. I don't think Devin would only have, because we said this is going to be a very run heavy team. That's always how Shiano operates, and he did expand his Ethan being more of a passer than just handing the ball off last year a lot. But we also saw the second half of the year that Raymond was getting the ball a ton too, when he got 34 carries against I believe that was against Maryland.
Yes, the 200-yard game.
Yeah, and that was his second 200-yard game of the season too. So I'm really excited for having Thevenin, but I think that he's definitely going to get more than 3 or 4 carries like Jashawn Benjamin or Sam Brown would get. But I think it would be around. I swear to God, I'm not trying to meme here. I think it would be around 6 or 7.
I really see the distribution being 60-40 in Raymond's favor, because I feel like they're going to try to go back to the same style of offense that they had before CJ Campbell got hurt, where it was going to be potentially Antoine Raymond on certain drives getting more of the carries, while they have potentially Devin in as that third down guy to be able to be a check down or potential screen option. And then on other drives, it's going to be Devin being that main person, because Devin's speed is going to make sure that he's going to get carries. He's going to be that B gap to C gap runner while Antoine Raymond can enjoy inside zone or potential power running schemes for most of that season.
I guess he didn't come here for 6 or 7 carries. He probably came here for 12 carries and 3 or 4 catches.
Well, yeah, because at the end of the day, we took him from Iowa. Iowa offered.
I didn't know that.
Iowa offered. Florida State offered.
Oh, yeah, we did not get him for 6 or 7.
Pitt offered. So these are programs that he decided to not look at and gave us the chance. So I can really see him being more – he has to be more involved.
I think 10 to 12 carries a game. And I'll tell you something. Antoine Raymond, when I saw him against Penn State, he was a violent runner, reminiscent of Kyle Monangai. I mean, he was just so dominant.
Yeah, where do you think he learned it from?
Yeah, I mean, Raymond was a force. And I think that I could see 10 to 12 carries a game. I could see Raymond getting maybe 18 to 20 carries a game, but I think that you're looking at it. He's gonna rush for over 1,000 yards, and Raymond is gonna be drafted, and he is gonna be an asset to an NFL football team.
I think Raymond stays in college more than just next year, though. I think he stays for his senior year. I don't know if he stays here, but I do think he stays in college.
If he got 1,000 yards and basically playing 10 games this year, and let's say potentially he goes for 1,200, 1,300 yards next year with around double-digit touchdowns, I can see him going into the draft. He has had
running backs
years. Two really good years in the Big Ten is going to convince a lot of scouts to put him on their boards.
I love Raymond. This guy loves contact, and on first contact, he doesn't go down, and he gets more violent. His leg strength and his push is so impressive that he has a future in the NFL, and deservedly so.
Yeah, but I think that running backs. I mean, why didn't Justice Haynes go declare for the draft this year? I think he should have. I feel like a lot of running backs stay when even past being eligible for the draft, just because a running back knows that they're not going to get paid as well in the NFL, because that's a specific position where you don't get paid like you should. And in college, with how marketable these running backs are, I do think that Raymond would stay for another year.
I don't even think it's just position. It's looking more and more for guys that college looks like the more profitable option right now, or like in the short term than the NFL. Because if you're going to the NFL, if you're a first round draft pick in the NFL, the most you're most likely going to look at is $4 million a year, around $4 million a year. If you're drafted in the later rounds, you're barely looking at $1 million, and a lot of these players right now are seeing potentially $5 million up front.
The thing about a running back staying, though, that I think concerns me is the risk of injury. I mean, these guys take a pounding, and staying another year can risk losing it all. Remember Willis McGahee at Miami in the national title game against Ohio State? So I think if Raymond gets a reasonable draft grade, I think he's going to go.
Yeah.
Well, either way, I'm happy to have him back for another year. Shout out to him and KJ Duff for staying.
Yes.
Oh, did y'all see the billboard that Duff is on? He's on
Yeah.
the billboard
It's
in Jersey.
Turnpike, right?
Yeah.
I did see that. I did
That's
see
nice.
that.
That's hype, yeah. And
He
that
should
brings
be
us
on the show, though. That's where he should be, not on a billboard.
Like Gabe, you remember in the earlier 2Ks, like 2K13 or like 2K14, where like you did an endorsement, you would get a billboard or show your My Player on the billboard. That's what it felt like.
He's got game or he's got next, one of those two. And speaking of he's got next, Rondo Porter is next up. I'm very, very excited for Rondo Porter, defensive lineman out of Appalachian State. And he got 43 total tackles last year, 4 pass deflections as a defensive end. Do you know how tough that is? 4 pass deflections. He got 2 sacks.
That shows he don't quit on plays.
He doesn't quit on plays, and even if he doesn't get to the quarterback a bunch, his arms have a way of finding the ball when he puts his hands up in the air like he's going for a roller coaster.
What's his size?
He is
6 foot 295.
Yeah, 295.
So he's an agile guy. He's most likely going to be a guy that's going to be moving around a lot, like kind of similar to what Indiana got right now. Their biggest lineman is like 6'2", 305 around that range. So you're going to have a guy that's short, but he's still wide enough to be able to stay in a gap. But he's most likely going to be moving gaps if he's placed into the defense.
I can see him being both an end and a tackle, switching back and forth, but mostly playing end. I'm excited for him. I really am.
He has really good twitch. From watching his tape as well, he's really good twitch. That's why I like the
question. I was just going to ask how explosive he is, but look,
he's explosive. He's explosive. Yeah. He's really, when he's trying to shock and shed, or when he has to stay in the gap, he's able to strike with power. He's obviously a lot of Appalachian State games this year when he's in, he gets knocked back. So that means that he has a lot of power in his lower area, and he's able to just chop and rip.
And it should be worth noting, too, I believe he's a true junior, and he got recruited to South Carolina, and he saw the field as a freshman, got not for a crazy amount of time. He wasn't like the starter, but he got 7 tackles and a sack and a forced fumble in a short amount of time played for South Carolina. So, and that was as a freshman. So he has experience playing in a Power 4 conference.
Playing SEC ball.
Exactly.
Appalachian State. Who can forget Appalachian State's glorious upset of Michigan?
True that. And may their, I believe, was it their head coach who passed away this year, or their general manager? They had someone really big pass away. So definitely rest in peace to them. Yeah. And yeah, I'm sure that they're going to continue to thrive and improve as a program. Sorry for poaching Rondo from y'all. I'm sure that Rondo will still be a Mountaineer in his heart next year, but he's going to have to be a Scarlet Knight too, and I'm excited for him.
I like to, because what Adam talked about earlier in the show when it comes to players playing against competition. He played in a Sun Belt conference that was pretty loaded this year, and he did show out in the games that he had to show out. He played good against JMU. He played good against Marshall. He played good against Old Dominion. So he showed when it comes to the upper tier teams in the Power and Group of 5, he's shown that he can rise to the occasion. So putting him in a Rutgers defensive line that really needs that reinforcement, he's going to be a major factor in potential on first down or third down, because he has the option. He had 2 sacks last year and 6 quarterback hits. So he's going to be able to be a factor on third down.
And Shiano brought him in to start too, I think. I mean, I guess it's not a guarantee, but I think, he'll be a senior next year.
6 foot potential going into the year. He might play around 305, 310. Yeah. He's most likely. He can be a force to be reckoned with.
And I tell you what, if the defense doesn't play well, we're going to be calling for him to play better. And if they do play well, he's going to be a main reason why. We didn't have anybody rushing the quarterback until the end of the year when Eric O'Neal started showing up a lot more. And you saw as a result that these quarterbacks had plenty of time to escape the pocket, plenty of time to check the ball down, and plenty of time to find a wide open man, because eventually someone's going to get open. So
and when they did scramble, where did they scramble? They were scrambled up the middle.
I was just going to say up the middle.
And that's when it comes to scrambling up the middle, that means a defensive tackle's getting moved out of his gap or not rushing with discipline. A lot of Porter's tape, it shows that he's able to force pressure up the middle, and he's able to really condense the pocket in that way. And to those that are worried about his stature of 6 foot, typically when it comes to being in the trenches, it's lowest man wins. So I would give advantage Porter,
especially on 4th and 1. When it's tush push time, he's going to play a big factor. So that brings us to our last guy of the evening, and that is Rice Owls linebacker Ty Morris, who I'm also very excited about. Seems like a potential Jabome replacement, honestly. 88 tackles, 35 solo, 53 assisted, 3 pass deflections, 2.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. I mean, those are really solid numbers.
Yeah.
He's going to be he's a sideline to sideline type of player.
We might be losing a lot of players to the Temple Owls, but we're getting some Rice Owls in return.
Yeah, pairing that up with the linebackers that they currently have right now, potentially Malachi Davis being in that area of playing linebacker as well as edge rusher, and having that with the linebackers that we saw this year, he's going to be a good addition, and he's going to be addition of a big veteran. He's going to be a veteran voice in that LB room. So he's going to definitely not only raise his game at Rutgers, but he's going to raise a lot of the game of these fellow linebackers alongside him.
Yeah, clear starter. No question about that. I think, and he's going to be an anchor on the defense. I mean, he's going from being an anchor at Rice to potentially being an anchor for Greg Schiano and whoever the hell our defensive coordinator is going to be next year.
If he's able to put a couple of pounds on him, do you think he could potentially be like an all Big Ten type of guy for Rutgers?
If Ty can?
Yeah.
At 6'2", 229.
Let's say he goes up to like 235 or like 240.
I think he could be based on numbers. I just hope that he doesn't have the same issue as Jabome where he gets a lot of tackles, but that's because a lot of running backs escape the front four. I hope that they're sincere tackles. And to me, tackle for loss is just as important. Although I don't see any tackle for loss data here. But 3 pass.
He has 17 tackles for losses. That's over 2 seasons.
That's damn good.
So
yeah. So was his first year redshirt year when he had 10 tackles, 6 solo?
It could be. It depends on how many games he played. Like if he played more than 4 games, I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't see the games played here, but either way, I'm very excited because we're losing Jabome, but I don't think we're losing talent at the position when you bring in Ty Morris.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Nothing bad to say about that one, Adam?
I have nothing bad to say, and I'll tell you why I have nothing bad to say, because I don't say bad things just to say them, but I do tell it like it is. And you know what? Sometimes truth leads to accountability, and you know that's what we do on the show. We speak our minds, and we have different opinions, and that's what makes it great.
I see a guy that's just gets better and better, and that's the only. If you're a school like Rutgers and you can't get the big name guys, you're looking for a guy that's on an upward trend. And so far, with a lot of the pickups that Rutgers has had so far in this transfer portal, we're seeing trending upward guys.
Yeah, and Ty Morris seems like he probably got a little bit of change out of that too, because you're talking about a guy who's going to be MLB 1, LB 1, maybe defensive player number 1 on the team next year. So, it's worth it 100%. And to me, that honestly, based on the scheme we were playing last year, I don't know if it'll be the same, but based on the scheme we were playing last year, even if we have different coaches, I know Schiano is familiar with that scheme. He would clear out the middle linebacker position because we only had one middle linebacker out there.
Right.
So that's a position filled which we don't want last year to copy and paste into this year. But if it were to copy and paste, then all of a sudden we don't need any more middle linebackers. Now we can just look at the exterior for what we do need. And that's not even that crazy to me because we already have some good homegrown exterior linemen. We got more secondaries. We got to figure out what we're doing at strong safety because I believe Kaj Sanders at free safety is sticking around. I'm excited.
Plus, we forgot to mention he's an all-conference linebacker in the American. So
Yeah, it's big time.
He's bringing stature. He's bringing accolade. He's bringing culture. The main reason why he wanted to come to Rutgers is because he bought into the culture. So he could potentially be a guy that Rutgers hasn't seen since Motorhead, or potentially somewhat better than what Jabon was last year.
100%. Now, that's all I got for the pick updates, I believe. Yes, that is all I got. So now on to a little more of a what should have been an end of year thing, but we got to it eventually.
Yeah, so we had to eventually get to this, which is basically our wrap up of the year and discussing Rutgers, how they did this year and where they're going and what we see for them next year. And the best way to do that, I got to give credit to Gabe for this idea, is to include some of our prior takes before and during the season and to see how they actually panned out in real time. So, Gabe,
yes,
take it away, my friend.
So here is the first one. When CBS Sports came out with their ranking of every college football program, and we were a little pissed off at them being number 63.
You fixed the side of the football that was hurting you last year in the defense. Make it your whole
You fixed the defense. You hear that?
Identity, and get about the same in offense with a returning senior quarterback. And you're not even in the top 50 when you have 2 straight winning seasons.
Yeah, yes, I think he got this one wrong because if you look at our quarterback, he's coming back from a pretty good year. He's grown. He's going to be solid this year. We got 3 solid running backs, if not 4. A much deeper wide receiving core, particularly with the addition of UT Sheffield. You have a good tight end and an offensive line well together is going to be special. And that defense has size and speed on the defensive line, which they didn't have last year. More depth and a secondary that can be lights out if we get pressure on the quarterback particularly. So
last year,
it's ridiculous.
Last year, we had longer beam, Eric Rogers, but this year we have like four guys in the secondary that are key players.
So about
at the end of the season, how many would you think key guys that Rutgers had in the secondary?
Oh, God, maybe 1.5.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first half of the analysis was pretty on regarding the offense, but I don't think either Gabe or I anticipated.
We were so
ecstatic
about that defense.
Well, when you look, we had Doug Blue Eli coming in, Bradley Weaver, Eric O'Neill, Jet Elad from UNLV, Cam Miller from Penn State. I mean, there was reason at that time to be optimistic, but we were not correct.
Yeah, no.
And notice how they were all big school guys.
Yeah.
See, I guess that's another thing. We're kind of going the opposite route of last year.
Well,
we went based off reputation last year instead of kind of going with a more Moneyball approach.
I don't think we should automatically go off of a school's reputation. My point was I think it should be an important part of an evaluation because it allows you to assess the level of competition that they've played against.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair. Now on to the next one. This one I have milked since I said it, and I'll just let it do the talking.
At least Nathan will have the better year than DJ Lagway. I don't know about the team, but I think Nathan will have a better year.
No.
Did you see this game?
I can see how Florida's offense compared to like Rutgers' offense.
Jesus Christ, my mic was
just
terrible.
how Nathan's going to be playing a much bigger role in this offense this year, as they're really going to be more focused on the pass. Not saying that the running game isn't there. It's starting to get effective. They do have 2 good running backs with true sophomore Aiden. I have his name right here.
Antoine?
Yeah, Antoine Raymond, and there's FAU transfer senior CJ Campbell Jr. They got 2 really good running backs there, but Florida is going to be more reliant, I would say, on Jaden Ball, because Jaden Ball definitely showed out against us. He was the speed and power that he had is very impressive, and
we kind of, I mean, I got that right. Shout out to Donovan for being on the right side of history there.
I would just my apologies for my mic at that time.
No,
oh my God, the audio was just rough. But what I was saying at that moment was that Florida's going to have to depend more on Jaden Ball like they did. Jaden Ball was an all SEC running back this year. I think he led the SEC in yards for a running back this season. And DJ Lagway, just the numbers say itself.
Gabe was 100% correct. Ethan had a much better year than DJ Lagway. I did not think that would be the case. I was wrong. And, credit to Ethan because his development, since he came from Minnesota, has been consistent and steady each year. And this was a great year for him, and he deserves all the credit that he gets.
Yeah, I wish that you could invest in these guys like a stock market because Ethan's stock was not that high, and I had this unwavering confidence in him, and it paid off because he never had a season better than 54%, and then this year he had a 62%, and he looked like one of the more efficient quarterbacks in the Big Ten just out of nowhere. So I'll take that. And Donovan, I bet you know who Antoine Raymond is now.
Yeah, at that time I had to learn the name. I'm happy I learned it quickly because he showed me why. If I'm looking at the numbers right now, Lagway had a better completion percentage by 0.9. Callie McManus threw for 1,000 more yards, or actually 1,100 more yards than Lagway. 8.5 yards per attempt was more than Lagway. He threw for more passing touchdowns than Lagway, throwing 20. Lagway threw 16. Lagway's 14 interceptions. Callie McManus only threw half of that, only 7. Callie McManus had a higher passer rating and had a much higher QBR by 10.6 points with a 69.9 QBR to Lagway's 59.3.
Yeah.
Only thing Lagway had more than him was rushing yards, 136 to negative 26, and Callie McManus had 4 rushing touchdowns to Lagway's 1.
I mean, if Lagway played how he was supposed to play, that was a playoff team. And instead they had a losing record. Yeah.
So, Donovan, when you played Florida the first game of the season, what was your impression of Lagway?
He was able to move around in the pocket. There was one instance in that game where my guy DQ Watkins, he had him for the killing for a sack. He was able to shove him off and still throw the ball to Eugene Wilson, who was a really good pickup for LSU. And I'm surprised that Florida wasn't able to keep him. He was their best wide receiver last year. He was the one who had the Sports Center catch against us on the sideline with the one-hander in week 1. They let him go. Still surprised that he walked. But that's Lagway. Lagway showed that he can do he's efficient when he's able to have time in the pocket and he's able to really just move around. But if there's pressure on him, he's not really good at really telling reads or being able to show reads. So from what I took from week 1 was that they should keep running the ball with Jaden Ball because for the most part of that game, a lot of the offense for Florida was due to just Jaden Ball being able to go 5 or 6 yards a pop on our defense. And once it led to Lagway having to really pass the ball, despite the fact that he was efficient against us, he was able to find the open man. He didn't really need to do that often. But when he has to do it often, week 3 against LSU, week 2 against USF, week 4 or I think week 5 against Miami, week 7 against Georgia.
Yeah,
he knows that he can't really
Texas,
do it.
That's pretty much it. Was Texas had to be their most impressive win this year because they beat them handily too. It was honestly the game
up to that point we were their statement win.
It was It was honestly the game that knocked Texas out of the playoffs, in my opinion, because other than that, it was Ohio State and Georgia, which God forbid you lose to them.
Yeah, well, that 100% was the reason why.
How do you explain how a team like Florida is so inconsistent? They can beat Texas, but then they lose the teams they should absolutely beat. I mean, what's going on? Is it a mindset problem, a preparation problem? What's the deal with that?
100% a Billy Napier problem.
Yeah, they got rid of their problem.
Because the thing is, their defense, we were studying their defense the entire week, and we were just seeing Caleb Banks, potential first-round pick, Tyreek Sapp on the left side, and then George Gums on the other side, and they're playing this mid front, so they're always on to the line. Tyreek Sapp, son of Warren Sapp. They had a lot of names, and outside of playing against us, and outside of that, playing against us, playing against Florida, playing against Mississippi State, they didn't really show that much this season. I know Banks did deal with some injury. Gums had a decent year, but Tyreek Sapp had it down here.
Shout out to Mississippi State too. They were so close to being a serious team this year. They were
serious up to the point where they had to beat Tennessee, and they just couldn't beat. Once they lost to Tennessee, it started going downhill.
And they were up 21 on Texas in the fourth quarter.
That game was a good game, but it was just my SEC takes are for another day.
Yeah, I mean, them beating Arizona State, that was like us beating Louisville in 06. That was like that was one of their big games. I got two more here, and unfortunately, I feel like the funniest two. Yes, Jason. To put it bluntly, Florida is cheeks for now. We'll have to see how their new staff does. But
imagine Ethan McManus with Eugene Wilson III. Oh, boy.
All right, I got two more here. I think the funniest are gone, but these are pressing issues that I got wrong on the last one. And on this one, it's going to be about actually the coaching staff itself. And Adam, you had an interesting take here.
I'm looking forward to it. I would say the best in Rutgers history and a great man. But
Schiano.
Coach Schiano, I think, has hit the ceiling for where he's going to take Rutgers. And that's not to say he hasn't taken it to great heights, but I think he's hit the ceiling. And I also think for Coach Schiano's own reputation that this is too much of an embarrassment for him, and he really doesn't need this. So this is not as much about criticism of Coach Schiano, but empathy, and for where the program is going, I think it's time for a change. And number three, the future does not look bright right now, Gabe. The future, it's not only going to be more of the same, but it's going to be declining, and we could end up with a 3-9 season.
So the world needs to know two things. Do you still think the future is not that bright? And do you think that Schiano has still hit his ceiling?
Do I think the future is not that bright? Yes, I do not think the future is
Oh, come on.
Oh, man, you were just talking about Lonergan, man.
What about this the last week with Lonergan? You felt like I thought he was supposed to be the guy that brings us back.
Yeah, well, so now it depends on how you define what constitutes a bright future. For me, a bright future is winning 9 or 10 games and competing for a playoff spot. So by that definition, no, I do not think the future is bright. Do I think the future is hopeless? No. I think what will likely happen is that we will win 6-7 games and probably consistently go to a bowl. And in response to the second part of your question, yes, I do believe that is the ceiling under Schiano. Oh, and I've always appreciated and respected Coach Schiano as a person and as a coach. He's coached at the highest levels. And I'm not trying to be negative, but I think that, his ceiling is going to be 6-7, maybe an 8-win season. We go to bowl games, but are we going to break through and get, be competitive for a playoff spot when competing in the Big Ten? I think the answer to that is no. So is it hopeless? No. Is it bright, though? According to my definition, not really. I think it's somewhere in the middle. And if that's what Rutgers fans want to accept, that's fine. But that's not what I want to accept.
So is it brighter than when you said that first? I think that was the week we were facing Oregon. We didn't know we were going to get smacked 56-10, but it didn't look great. Is it brighter now than it was?
Yes, it is brighter now because I do think we've made some important acquisitions in the transfer portal. And I think our defense is going to go nowhere but up next year. I also think the schedule is a slightly more favorable because our toughest games will be at home. And I think that, so is it brighter? Yes, but brighter relative to what happened last year does not necessarily mean the future is bright. So I think you're going to see some progression. But again, I want Rutgers to eventually be a team that competes for a playoff spot. And I think, given our recruiting struggles, given our Big Ten schedule, that's not going to happen. And I think at some point, we have to either accept that or we have to make changes.
I see it going in the step in the right direction. And in general, last year they had a hot start, and then the first 2 games of the Big Ten schedule for Iowa and Minnesota, they were both close games, and they were both close losses. And that those 2 tough losses back to back are able to they're able to I would say destroy a season, or they can destroy the momentum of the season or shut down the momentum of the season. And this year they have a chance to right those wrongs, and I feel like they added a transfer. They've done well in the transfer portal so far, and getting key acquisitions that it looks like going into next year they have a roster that could be formidable against most of these Big Ten teams. They have a roster last year that was able to beat Maryland. They're going to most likely beat Maryland again this year. They have a team that can beat Northwestern. They have a team last year that barely lost to Penn State. Now adding a QB and Longerin, adding weapons in the running game as a Tevinen, being able to add receivers back like KJ Duff. You're going to have potential to take down Penn State or keep it close with Penn State. They have a chance. They had a chance last year, and it was mostly Rutgers' mistakes that made them lose that game. If they're able to tighten down on those mistakes, they have a chance to pull off an upset in Happy Valley. And another place they have a chance to pull an upset in is, like you said, was Nebraska. Nebraska is not going to have Dorminola. And who's ever going to be the QB for Nebraska at that moment, I don't see them being able to take down a Rutgers defense that has looked more reinforced.
Yeah, cover your ears, Pit Snipe Husker. But yes, I do believe we can beat Nebraska. I don't think we can beat Penn State, though. I think they got all their chemistry back that was lost last year.
So, yeah, and I think of the season in terms of a range. And I think Donovan makes some really great points. But I see the season in terms of a range of wins. And what I see for next year is a range of 4 to 8 wins.
I would say 5 to 8. I don't see how we only.
I would say 5 to 9 because outside of the Penn State game, Nebraska game, you're saying that they couldn't beat Wisconsin. I could believe they could beat Wisconsin. They're going to beat Michigan State.
Yeah,
they will lose in Camp Randall.
There's no way, man.
No way. Oh, my God. Guys, Wisconsin is a decent team at home, but I think we're going to lose to USC. I think we're going to lose to Michigan.
I mean, Wisconsin ended the year well.
Yeah, that's still 3 losses right there.
No,
they still have a chance. If you're saying they're going to lose to USC, Michigan, and Indiana, that's just 3 losses on the year. They have a chance of winning on.
And Wisconsin. So I think that it's going to come down to my prediction is 6 or 7 wins.
It's just interesting that Wisconsin lost to Maryland by 17, lost to Iowa by 37, and then beat Washington.
That's my point. Like and they beat Washington at Camp Randall. But, I hate disagreeing with Donovan because Donovan is someone who actually plays football and knows football and has much more experience and knowledge than me. But I just don't – I see a 6 – I'm going to put the over-under at 6.5 for wins next year.
I think Vegas would do us a little dirty and put us at 5.5.
If they put us at 5.5, I'd make money next season.
Now you can, right? So
yeah, officially, yeah.
So, Nebraska's defense is going to be ferocious next year, and if they get an offensive line, we could be in for.
Wisconsin just lost their best linebacker in the portal, so it's going to be a different team that Wisconsin's going to have defensively. In Nebraska, they're going to be under a new quarterback, so we're going to have to see how that looks for most of the season. There's a lot of question marks with those teams. Katron Allen and Nick Singleton. Are you sure they're going to come back next season for Penn State? I think both of them are going to.
I thought they're both out of eligibility now.
Yeah, so who's going to be running the ball for Penn State? So there's a lot of questions when it comes to those teams that you can.
Which, by the way,
give Rutgers the upper hand because they have those positions filled.
Unrelated, and I know that they're the enemies, but how unreal is it that in the golden age of NIL, that Penn State was able to keep the same 2 running backs for 4 years straight and have them set records? That's just
they were friends and they wanted to do something legendary. Let's say at the end of the day, it comes down to what they had at that time.
AJ and Ian could have done the same thing.
James Franklin had that team winning at least 9-10 games a year.
That's exactly
during most of their tenure. This was the only year during their tenure that they didn't win at least 7 games.
Yeah, and that was, but that's what I'm saying is like that's so rare. So nothing but respect to them for doing that. And that brings us to the last freezing cold take of the evening, and unfortunately, it was made by me and Callie McManus because they. By the way, we know how to spell Ethan's name, Athan, but this freaking beta from StreamYard keeps calling him Ethan or Aton. Shine wearing Scarlet red. And Adam, I'm curious about your opinions. So let's start off with Ian Strong, pick 42. He is a junior. He has another year of eligibility. He has 3 options here. Well, realistically, everybody has unlimited options, but 3 options that are most taken when you're primed to be pick 42. You can either declare for the draft, be possibly a first-round pick no later than 3rd or 4th, but hovering around the mid-second round. You can stay at Rutgers and have another year with, at this point, an unknown QB1. It could be AJ Suris. It could be transfer quarterback. It could be one of the backups on the roster if AJ were to get injured, God forbid. Or he could do the 3rd option, which is to enter the transfer portal. So if you're Ian Strong, Rutgers bias aside, I mean, you can still vouch for Rutgers 100%, but what would you do?
Well, I think Ian Strong, first order of business, he has to get an accurate draft projection. Now, if he was going to go in the first round, there's no reason for him to stay at Rutgers and stay at the college level. I don't think he is going to be drafted in the first round. I think it's more likely that he's going to be a late 2nd round or a 3rd round. Given that, I think he should come back, okay, because he has a substantial chance to increase his draft stock. And if he comes back, I think that he should stay at Rutgers because he's going to know that he's –
I want to talk about – oh, man, we got cut off mid-take there, but unfortunately he ended up transferring to Cal. But this right here is the reason why it's a cold take. The caption I made is, should Ian Strong declare for the NFL draft or stay another year? Not once did I say, or will he transfer? And that is what he did.
So he transferred to Cal.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have 3 letters I'm thinking of. W-H-Y. Why?
Donovan has good reasons for it.
He's going to get the ball a lot, and there's a potential where at the end of the
you got muted.
There's a potential that at the end of the year that he could be a guy that leads the nation or be top 5 to top 7 range in the nation in receptions because he's going to get the ball a lot.
At Cal.
Yes,
100%.
They don't have receivers. This is their best wide receiver
have a good
pickup
quarterback
in the entire portal.
JKS, what, Jackson Keanu Sagapotulele or something?
Yes.
Should have gone to Missouri and been the next Luther Burden.
I don't think Missouri was even in question. I think it was between Cal and Notre Dame.
It was Cal and Notre Dame, and seeing that I was surprised he didn't pick Notre Dame. I really think the reason why he picked Cal is because he's going to be that number 1 guy at Cal compared to at Notre Dame. He's most likely going to have to share the wealth like he did at Rutgers. I really believe he wants to be the star, the guy. He wants to be the star. He doesn't really care about the wins or the losses at this point. He wants to be the star. He wants to make a lot of plays, and that's going to help him get to the NFL because if he balls out at Cal and potentially be a guy that is top 10 in the nation in reception or potential receptions and as well as potentially touchdowns because he's most likely going to be that red zone threat. Mm-hmm. And because at the end of the day, Ian Strong is 6'2", potentially I think he's like 6'2", 6'3". Yeah. He's potentially going to be that red zone threat for the Cal Golden Bears and in the ACC where points are at a plenty. That's going to get him to the NFL.
But you're
always actually telling I was telling KJ Duff's dad, Corey Sr., shout out to him, very nice guy, that I actually think that Ian Strong is going to lead the nation in receptions and KJ Duff is going to lead the nation in yards. And I don't think that's a crazy thing to say at all, which is imagine saying that about Rutgers' offensive talent in 2026.
Well, so that's a take that I think
he's going to be getting the ball from a guy that was top 20 in passing this season, and he had 18 touchdowns and 9 interceptions.
And Ian Strong, no DT Sheffield to take the touches away.
Oh, I see. So he wants to go into the NFL, but he wants to be wide receiver one at Cal, which is perennially in the bottom of the conference. So you're only as really good as your team is, too. You can't necessarily be an amazing wide receiver if your offensive line sucks and you're getting blown out by much better teams. And I got to tell you, I think that if he stayed at Rutgers, he'd be part of a great wide receiving core and could have gotten the same benefits. I don't see it panning out that way because as good as he is as a wide receiver, Cal still has to be able to protect the quarterback, and Cal is traditionally terrible. So
you're not wrong. JKS got sacked 30 times last year.
That's what I'm saying.
The opportunity is there. Their best receiver, Jacob Diseases, is gone. He was a senior. He's not going to be. I think he's out of eligibility. So he is going to be strong as a star guy.
You said that JKS got sacked 30 times. You'll never guess how many times Ethan got sacked. 36. And Cal
got the ball still
last year. Cal finished last year 7-6, 4-4 in the conference. They were ranked 7th in the conference.
And to be honest, they could have won 9 games. They were in that game with SMU, and they had instances where they could win games and they just didn't get it done. They could have beaten Virginia Tech. They let that one go in second in 2 overtimes. They're a team that beat Louisville. Louisville beat Miami this year, by the way, and embarrassed Miami at home. So this Cal is a team that's still bubbling on the rise. They just learning how to win.
I do not see the benefit of going to Cal. How there is any substantial benefit that he would have gotten at Rutgers. I think he would have had a great year on a Rutgers team that probably has a chance of getting more wins than Cal. Cal, they're not horrible, but they're very average. And you got a quarterback who got sacked 30 times last year. Against good teams, Ian Strong can be open all he wants, but if the quarterback's on his ass or under pressure and they can't move the ball, I'm not so sure that he's going to – it just doesn't seem like a decision that is backed by enough evidence to justify the transfer.
I think it's the perfect decision because here he would have been clear – I think here he would have been the clear wide receiver too. He would have played against tougher corners again. Possibly had not great games again against the top of the conference. He's going to an easier conference, which they're still Power 4, but the ACC is an easier conference than the Big Ten. He's going to be the clear guy. He's going to have another breakout season and going to have better numbers than last year. We said the reason that he wouldn't be drafted or wouldn't declare would be if he came back and had a better year. I don't think that you can come back and have Dylan Lonergan throwing to you instead of Ethan and expect to have a better year as the clear wide receiver 2 instead of the 1B.
I think you can because Dylan Lonergan is a former 4-star recruit from Alabama that the coaches thought should start over Jalen Milroe.
JKS is one of the best quarterbacks in the ACC.
He had Dylan Lonergan. I mean, he also had 12 touchdowns, 5 interceptions last year.
But
he'll have a good year.
1,000 more yards than him.
He could have a good year next year, no doubt, but he's not going to have the year that Ethan had this last year. Next year,
why not?
Because he's not there yet.
Well,
it's gonna be him getting acclimated to the playbook as well as Ethan didn't have a good year his first year at Rutgers.
Ian's
gonna have to get adjusted to it.
Ian's going to go to Cal because instead of being wide receiver 2, he can be wide receiver 1. He's not going to go up against the same corners and the same tough competition. That doesn't sound like a recipe for being an NFL receiver. If I was an NFL scout, that wouldn't impress me. You want to see them go against the best and beat the best.
And he'll have a chance to do that in the Senior Bowl.
Why am I always the one who's disagreeing here? You know,
I understand why you would say why would he choose Cal, but it's just he's going to be in an opportunity to flourish the same way that now with Ian Strong being at Cal, KJ Duff is going to be that prime number 1 guy for Rutgers. So they're going to have similar. They probably
talked about that. Honestly, they probably talked.
If you want to go to the NFL, you're going to have to be able to play with and show that you're as good, if not better, than the best receivers and the best corners. Going to easier competition.
He's most likely going to be outside of, I would say, Malachi Toney. He's going to be with top 5 when it comes to wide receivers in the ACC.
Yeah, they're not G5. They're still a Power 4 school. I mean, the competition, it's not Big Ten SEC. but it's not Sunbelt MAC AAC.
Is Jeremiah Smith going to go into the draft next year? Okay, so Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate.
He's already in the draft this season.
Okay, and there's a few other
Ryan Williams.
Ryan Williams from Alabama, right?
Ryan Williams had a down year this season.
He did have a down year. You're absolutely
Ian
right.
Strong is up to that level, though. Not necessarily Jeremiah Smith, but he's on that Ryan Williams level for sure.
Yeah, I would say he's Ryan Williams tier. He had a better year than Ryan Williams.
But guess what? KJ Duff is Jeremiah Smith tier at this point.
No.
Numbers wise, he is.
Opportunity.
They got no separation against Oregon. They got no separation against Ohio. No.
KJ Duff doesn't need separation. That's what's beautiful about him. He's 6'6".
He's gonna have a guy that's throughout most of the spring and most of the summer. He's going to get a lot of high pointed passes.
Well, look, I wish Ian Strong.
He's gonna be in a similar way that Elijah Surratt was with Indiana, where Elijah Surratt, every single pass that was thrown to him was back shoulder. He's going to be getting high point or back shoulder.
I could see that. And look, I wish Ian Strong the best. I mean, he was talented. What do you mean? He was talented. I wish him the best. I hope he gets drafted, of course. KJ Duff, best catch I've seen all year in college football against Penn State, and deserves credit. Very talented. Separation. Well, I guess Jason, what I'm saying from a layperson's perspective is the receivers weren't getting open against the league competition. Okay? That's what I'm saying. So if we talk about these guys as first-round draft picks, well, let's see how they performed against Ohio State, against Oregon. And I really wasn't totally impressed. And I hate to be the jerk who says all these things, because I respect these guys and want them to be in the NFL and succeed. But I'm not where you guys. I'm not where you guys are in terms of how promising. I need to see more.
But I think it's okay to see someone leave Rutgers and say that maybe they made the right decision.
He should have gone Notre Dame.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, that's
really comes down.
That's a whole other topic.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic. Because you would, if you want to be in a situation where you're playing for a potential national championship and being in a scenario where you're going to be playing against the best of the best, yeah, he could be playing at Notre Dame, but he's not going to get as many targets at Notre Dame as he is going to get at Cal. At Cal, he's going to be a guy that's going to lead that team in receptions. He's going to lead that team in yards. He's going to lead that team in most likely receiving touchdowns. And that's going to look better to potential scouts, because he's going to be a number one guy, and he can bring that momentum into a Senior Bowl.
Well, for that matter, then why the hell didn't he go to Temple or go to even lower school if he wants to?
Temple was never going to pay him. That's
Temple. I don't even think he would decide to go to Temple, because Cal is still, at the end of the day, if you want to look at it on an academic level, he's going to Berkeley. So he's still potentially getting a good education. He's going to get paid good money, and he's still going to be playing against good competition.
Isn't he from Cal too, or no? I think
no. Ian?
Is he not?
No, he's from Long Island.
Oh, okay.
Berkeley is a beautiful place. Telegraph Avenue is beautiful. My girlfriend in college was from up there, so beautiful campus, great academics.
Yeah, plus, I'm going to say you went to USC, so you know how Berkeley is.
USC is far from Berkeley, though. It's like a 6-hour drive.
That's correct. And we used to go there for the weekender every 2 years when USC went up to Berkeley to play them. A lot of fun there in San Francisco. But I guess I disagree philosophically. It's like, even if you're wide receiver 2 and you get less catches at Rutgers, scouts are going to see that you are playing better competition. They are going to see your talent. You go play lesser competition at Cal. I mean, I'm not saying it's that much lower, but I don't think the upside is so substantial that it justified him leaving Rutgers.
I view what you're viewing it as, because you're kind of seeing it through a perspective that a lot of people do when it comes to college basketball players going to the NBA. Why would they draft a guy that for example went to Duke and he only averaged 7 points per game, but in his rookie season he's starting to average around 15 to 20 points per game for a team in the NBA? Because there is a lot of talent on that team, but you want to be, especially in football, you want to be able to be known as that guy, be that number one. And Ian Strong, he kind of, for most of that year last year, that number one wide receiver 1 title got kind of taken away from by KJ Duff, primarily because Strong was out for a couple of games in the second half of the season. Duff started to arrive more and more to the occasion, and he was able to get crazy catch after crazy catch after crazy catch. And now Strong has an opportunity to reinvent himself and be in a new offense and be in a system where he's going to be that focal point. When teams have to look at the scouting report on Monday when they have to play against Cal, his name's going to be at the top of that board for the defensive side, and he's going to have those numbers while being potentially the guy that's going to be covered by every team's best player. So you're gonna be able to look at his stats, be like, oh, he's covered by every single team's cornerback one, and he balled out. That's what he's trying to do. Because if he tries to do that and he's able to succeed at that, that's going to impress a lot of scouts because he was that number one guy, and he has a chance to show that he's able to take over games as a number one.
My last point with this is ignore the position in the draft, but pay attention to the order. So you have with this Ohio State team a few years ago, Garrett Wilson drafted 7th overall to the New York Jets. Chris Olave drafted 11th to the Saints, and JSN drafted 20th to the Seahawks. That's because at Ohio State, JSN was their wide receiver 3. But you look at their professional careers, and JSN is clearly having the best career. So maybe if Ian Strong leaves, it's not because he is afraid of being wide receiver 2, but maybe it's because it affects his draft stock, and he still could be the best player.
Well, I think he's taking a substantial risk, and eventually, regardless of what he does at Cal, he's going to be evaluated against KJ Duff, Jeremiah Love, Carnell Tate, and the rest of the elite wide receivers. I just feel like playing against
Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jeremiah Smith, not Jeremiah Love. So playing against and with elite competition, I think makes you better. Playing against higher quality competition makes you more attractive to scouts. And I just don't like the optic of going to a place where, I'm going to be the wide receiver 1. Competition may not be as high. If you want to get drafted in the NFL, you're going to be facing competition that you've never even seen before, speed you've never seen before. So I guess from philosophical point of view, I just don't see. But look, Donovan, you know more than I do about this. So
my final take on this is just I found Cal's schedule for next year. They're going to be playing against Clemson. As you know, Clemson does get a lot of good cornerback recruits. They're going to be playing against SMU again, a rematch of last year's. Honestly, I would say one of the more interesting games in the ACC. They don't play against Miami this year. They don't play against Georgia Tech. They're most I would say most competitive team that they're going to face this year is going to be most likely Clemson, Pitt, Virginia. They play Virginia at the end of the year, and they start off the year with UCLA. So he has the opportunity against Big Ten schools, really good ACC schools, to show that he can be that number one.
You know who could be lined up against Ian Strong in that Virginia game? Jacoby Henderson.
Oh, poor Jacoby. But listen, I get that ACC does have elite competition, but again, you're playing on a team, Cal, that is not that good, and I'm not sure how much you can shine.
He's going to add wins to this team. The reason why this team barely lost the games that they had was because they had a really good quarterback, and their best receiver was 5'7".
I don't think that Cal is that much quote unquote worse than us as a team. If they faced off, Cal could win that game.
Oh, they're not worse than us, but I'm talking about him as an individual and what the best fit for him is. I mean, if the Cal's quarterback is getting sacked 30 times under repeated pressure because their offensive line stinks, I'm not sure exactly how many catches Ian Strong's going to get.
Well, Nathan got sacked 36 times this year, and Ian Strong did fine.
So if Ian Strong is the clear number one at Cal, you don't think that he's going to get double teamed and bracketed, and they're going to be the focus on stopping him?
That's what the focus is going to be by the scouts, knowing that you're that number one guy.
How do you do as number one? Yeah.
And I can truly see him still being a guy that could be top 10 in receptions in the country, despite getting bracketed coverage or being able to be pressed up with a safety over top trying to cover him. Like, he's going to be doubled at Cal.
Yeah.
They're going to try to
I don't think scouts look at the ACC and say, oh, that's a cupcake conference. I mean, I think that's what makes the ACC so enticing, is that it is one of the easier Big Four conferences, but all the teams are really good. and you're not going to get docked any points for being in the ACC.
I don't see it as like it's an easy conference. It's a conference that has the most parity because at the end of the day, the number one team or the number 2 team in the nation right now, the team that's playing the national championship,
Exactly.
is an ACC school, and they didn't even get to their own conference championship game due to how well the competition in that conference is.
Well, I feel
it's more of a conference of parity than it is like a conference of difficulty.
I mean, if the ACC is as elite as you guys are saying, I feel even worse for Ian Strong because that means Cal's going to be even worse than they were this year. I'm telling you.
I don't think so.
Despite how good the ACC was last year, they beat some of the better teams in the ACC. They beat 2 of the teams that beat Miami. They beat SMU. They beat Louisville. So they're going to be in a situation that they're going to have a potential upside with Strong. And like, I hate to be the voice of California Bears right now, but like it's kind of obvious that it's an addition.
I'll be rooting for them in the ACC for sure, as long as they're not facing us.
So Gabe, do me a favor. Next year at this time, when you put the takes on from the prior year,
also
remember this, because either I'm going to look like the biggest idiot in the world.
You've been right. You've been right a fair amount of times, though. I remember you were talking about how worried you were for our defense against the Big Ten last year, and I was like, they'll be fine. They're learning. So you have been right.
I don't know.
I was saying that they could be. I was saying that despite the Big Ten competition, our defense was going to be able to withstand it and possibly one of the better ones. So.
Hey, when both of you disagree with me, hey, I question myself. I'm humble. You know, I must be saying something wrong. So
it's not just us; it's Jason in the chat too.
Jason just.
God! Virginia just got Bo Perbula. Wow.
Jason always has informed opinions. He's a true. He knows college football certainly. But wait, who got Bo Perbula?
Virginia.
Oh.
Wow! As we're talking about Virginia,
why didn't we go after Bo Perbula? I keep pronouncing
because we got your man Dylan Lonergan.
Yeah, Dylan Lonergan is going to be a game changer, but I am not counting out AJ Surace. AJ Surace, if he beats out Lonergan, that could happen. But you know,
don't think a team that goes 2-10 we get their quarterback and he's.
You think Rutgers should spend nearly $2 million on Bo Perbula?
No, I don't think so. No.
All right, then. Yep,
solid.
We go after him.
I mean, I think they can spend $2 million on me and make me an assistant coach because you know I'll at least keep them honest. And look, the entire fan base would hate me, so Shiano would have no pressure on himself. I'd get blamed for everything. No,
exactly. I mean, look, Perbula, he's a good quarterback. Doesn't get in the spotlight too much, but puts up good numbers. And he was in a good school last year. He would have been great.
Well, as a matter of fact.
He finished off the year, his last 4 games with 0 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. So, like, that's why I'm just.
He had 17 before that.
I'm just iffy.
No, it makes sense.
For 2025, he had 11 TDs to 9 interceptions. One of his better games, I guess, was against Auburn, and the fact that he threw no touchdowns and they were still able to win is very impressive. But I feel like he was very much carried by a strong running game at Missouri last year.
It's possible.
Because it was, for most parts, I would say, especially after the Alabama game, it was the Missouri Ahmad Hardys than it was the Missouri Tigers.
Yeah. I could see that. Is he staying at Missouri, Ahmad Hardy, or did he leave?
I'm going to have to get back to you on that.
Word. I don't remember either.
Well, now that we're talking about this, we're talking about how great the ACC is. Let me renew my pitch for Rutgers to consider joining the ACC and getting out of the Big Ten, where they will not have to face Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Indiana, USC, Oregon, and the like. Just a thought.
You still want them to verse Miami and Clemson?
Yes, I'd far prefer that than I would the gauntlet of a schedule they're going to face every year.
I would enjoy the potential. It kind of feel like a Big East throwback matchup between Syracuse and Rutgers.
Yeah,
so it would bring back Big East vibes.
Yeah, bring that back for sure.
I don't want to hear any more of this stuff about Rutgers and Maryland have a rivalry. Maryland has no class. We are not in a rivalry with Maryland. I want to be in a rivalry with a more elite team that maybe
Yeah.
Maryland's rivalry is not with Rutgers. It's more with
That's a manufactured rivalry. That's not
Maryland
real.
doesn't have a rivalry. They're not good enough to have a rivalry.
They're not hateable enough either.
They
I
had
like
a rivalry like that 2018 season when they played up against Dwayne Haskins at they were hosting Dwayne Haskins in Ohio State. I felt like that was a rivalry that year because Dwayne Haskins was one of the better recruits out of the state of Maryland, and he decided to go to Ohio State instead of staying with Maryland. So
yeah,
I would say their rivalries aren't really long term. They're more just in the moment.
Donovan, that's true. And let me tell you something, Gabe. You omitted something from those takes that you should have included, which is I look thinner. Because I
was going to say that, but I didn't know how you'd feel about that.
The rowing machine, it does wonders.
Yeah, shout out. You know, you got to. I know you're writing a book, and the book is all about how to lose weight at 50. So
No, it's actually a screenplay about a lawyer taking on an underdog client in a very important case. It's based on a true story. Oh God! But hey, enough about me. I'm not narcissistic. All I'm going to say is this. I cannot wait for this upcoming season. It's going to be so exciting with Indiana, Michigan, USC coming to, I guess we now call it SHI Stadium. I used to call it Shea Stadium. You guys, we got to go. We got to do a live show from Shea Stadium next year.
Live from Shea. It's Saturday night or evening.
I would love to do that. We just got to plan it out.
Yeah, that would be hype.
Would you want to do it for like a Big Ten matchup, or do you want to
Big Ten? Oh, well, actually, Big Ten matchup would be insane, but those non-conference games would be like, when are you seeing them again?
The non-conference,
aim for the Boston College game. See Lonergan revenge game, perhaps.
But that game's gonna be at BC.
Of course it is.
Kurt Cignetti, we got to be there when Cignetti comes into town.
Goodness. You know, if they make that the
I was
homecoming,
thinking about doing that game or potentially seeing them when USC came into town or whatever. I wanted to go for one of the bigger games.
That would be a battle of the Adam fan bases.
I'm going to wear a shirt that says half of it USC, half of it Rutgers.
That actually should be the game. USC against Rutgers should be the game.
You got to bleed Rutgers. You can't. You're not allowed. But imagine that. Imagine they make the Indiana game the homecoming, just like they did for Oregon.
That's a bad idea.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
So was Oregon.
Let's do a USC game. Deal with the USC game.
I'm down with that.
I'm with it.
Well, guys, listen, this has been an awesome show and an awesome discussion. And as always, we're going to be back here every week, 7 o'clock on Mondays. And, of course, as news develops, we'll be here as necessary. Any final thoughts, guys?
I'm just excited to see how far they can go, and the transfer portal is still opened, and I want to be able to try to get a couple more guys. Just try to get
until Saturday, right? Or is it?
Yep.
Okay.
It's till the 18th, I think.
Sanders, you better not hit the portal before then, man. We need you. And also, we need some. We have. Does that mean that we can't get anyone after Saturday, or does that mean that they can't declare for the portal after Saturday?
You can't get anybody. It's done.
Oh my goodness,
it's done by everybody.
We have some work to do.
Well, due to the FCS being tired of seeing half of their teams disappear during the third day of spring ball, it's over. No more
Saturday.
No more second window.
We have some serious work to do then. My not anxiety meter, but my urgency meter is at an all-time high for Shiano to get some more guys on defense, because we've got some good guys. We got Ty Morris at linebacker. We got Rondo Porter, D-end, but we need some more. We cannot be satisfied. Offense, it's looking like it's 80 to 90% reps, maybe one more wide receiver or a couple or another tight end could work.
They got to get another tight end.
We got to get another tight end. I think we need maybe one more wide receiver. I don't know if we're running Desir Carter at wide receiver 2 next year, but defense, we need some urgency.
You guys are missing the story. I'm going to tell you what the story is as Saturday's deadline approaches. Rutgers needs to get Ian Strong back, and they need to pay him.
I think he signed.
I don't give a shit if he signed. I don't care. I'm a lawyer.
Here's your one curse word for the show.
I want you to say, Ian, we understand you made an error in judgment. We're happy to welcome you back. How much did Cal offer you? We'll double it. Welcome back to the Scarlet Knights. I look forward to talking about that next week when Ian Strong rejoins Rutgers.
All right, man. You make sure to turn that pillow upside down tonight.
I don't know what that means, but anyway,
you need to sleep on the cool side of it because clearly you're overheating. You have some sort of heat exhaustion or something.
These kind of insults just really no. What I'm saying is that my point is not about Ian Strong. My point is symbolic. It means Rutgers has to think outside the box, and Rutgers has to get a couple more potential game changers. That's my point.
Yes, I'm with it.
With that, I hope this was an awesome discussion, guys. Hopefully, one day I'll be in the majority instead of being the one who everyone disagrees with. But great insights. Thank you, Donovan. Thank you, Gabe, and appreciate everything you do. We'll be back here next Monday, 7 p.m. Until then, go Scarlet Knights.
Go Scarlet Knights.
Knights.